Om 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karava Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vivishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Boliye Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidhaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha. Boliye Shri Veda Vyasa Bhagavan Ki Jai. Hari Om. Welcome to the second day of Tales from the Mahabharata, Yaksha Prashna in English. So yesterday we saw the 4 questions about the sun. What is the question that Yudhishthira asked? The Yaksha asked Yudhishthira, Yaksha uvacha, kim swed aditya munnayati, kecha tasya abhitascharaha, kaschainam astam nayati, kasminscha pratitishthati. In what, because of what reason does the sun rise? Who are all surrounding the sun? Then, because of what reason? Or into what does the sun set, and in what does the sun rest always? So Yudhishthira says, Brahma Aditya Munnayati. The Vedas or Brahma, knowledge or awareness, consciousness, is the cause for the sun to rise. Devaha tasya abhitascharaha. In the sun outside, the planets are surrounding the sun. In the sun within the jiva, the mind, the intellect, the ego, sense of I, and the memory, they are all surrounding the jiva. Dharmascha astam nayati. The sun sets in dharma. The sun sets in duty, and the jiva can take rest in responsibility. When we take up responsibilities, then the mind is quiet. And satye cha pratitishthati. The sun outside rests all the time in satya. Truth means existence. The sun is. And because the sun is, it is in existence. In the same way, the jiva rests in the absolute truth or the reality, or called awareness, consciousness, or life. So the next 4 questions, questions 5, 6, 7, and 8, Yaksha asks Yudhishthira. Yaksha uvacha, kena svit shrotriyo bhavati, kena svit vindate mahat, kena svit dvitiyavan bhavati, rajan kena cha buddhiman, kena svit shrotriyo bhavati. How does one become a well-learned person? One who has listened a lot. How does one become such a kind of a person? Kenesvit vindate mahat. How does one attain to the highest in life? Kenesvit dvitiyavan bhavati. How does one become better than one's own self? Or how does one become the best, different from what we are right now? And Rajan, Kenacha Buddhiman, who is a very wise person. So Yudhishthira says, Yudhishthira uvacha shrutena shrotriyo bhavati tapasa vindate mahata dhritya dvitiyavan bhavati buddhiman vruddha sevaya. Shrutena shrotriyo bhavati. One becomes a learned person by listening a lot. Tapasa vindate mahat. By austerities, one attains to the highest in life. Dhritya vitiyavan bhavati. By bearing everything and remaining still, unfluttered and unswerving, one makes oneself better than one's own self. Buddhiman vritta sevaya. One becomes a wise person by serving the elderly. So in this, we will look into the details of these four questions. The question 5, केनस्मिद् श्रोत्रियः भवति श्रुतेन श्रोत्रियः भवति. By what means does a man become learned, a man or woman? The study of the Vedas makes a man learned. What is Vedas? Vedas represent knowledge. So how do we become learned in these days? We go to school, we learn, we go to college, we learn, we go to universities, we study through many academies, we study through online, through the internet. We also see many things, hear many things, and we learn. The study of the Vedas represents all different types of knowledge. Shrotriya is a person who has listened very well. Even the capacity of listening is very difficult because the restless mind will not allow us to listen completely. The mind will be throwing its own thoughts. So, to become a good Shrotriya, one should become a good listener. And one should become a good listener by practice of listening very well, especially listening to the words of truth, listening to the words of the masters and the Guru. There were many great Shrotriyas like Rishi Yajnavalkya, Rishi Bharadwaja, and others. So, Shravanam is a very important aspect. Even in Bhakti Marga, Prahlada talks about the 9 types of bhakti. The first form of bhakti, he says, among the Navada bhakti, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. Many forms are referred here. What is mentioned in these 9 forms of devotion? First is Shravanam, listening to the glories of the Lord. Why do we need to listen to the glories of the Lord? The human being has got the physical body and the subtle body and the causal body, of which the physical body and the subtle body, the I that is identified with the physical body and the subtle body is called the Jiva, and the I that is identified with the causal body is called Ishvara. And even for the Jiva, the physical body and subtle body, referring to the Jiva, is only a namesake addressing. When you call a person, come here, you say, actually what is the truth behind that person? The Lakshya or the real content of that person is consciousness. Whereas the physical body and subtle body has got a very minuscule presence, though it looks very big for us. In the same way, Ishvara is made up of all great gunas, the sattva guna. In that sattva guna, that consciousness which thrives in the sattva guna, the real expression of Ishvara, and these gunas are only the vachyartha, meaning for namesake, we refer to the gunas. But the actual truth in Ishvara is that consciousness. That consciousness is the same in Ishvara and in the Jiva. So there are two ways of knowing that consciousness. One way is through jnana, by knowing that what I am not. I am not the gross body, I am not the subtle body, I am not the causal body, I am the consciousness. The other way is to look at some very high ideal, like Ishvara, like the different deities, Bhagavan that we worship. Look at that ideal and examine what are all the qualities, the great qualities that Bhagavan has. The content of those great qualities is consciousness. So even if we look at Bhagavan, we should listen. Even if we want to understand ourselves and know ourselves through knowledge, we should listen. Even if we want to survive and live very well in this world and achieve greatness, we must definitely listen to the words of the master, words of the guru, words of the teacher, words of all the elders, words of people who love us. We have to listen. So there are many modern day methods in conflict resolution. You solve conflicts not by talking and arguing and fighting. One of the main issues in conflict resolution is you state your point and then you wait for the opponent to prove their point, and you listen completely. You give a very good hearing to what the other person has got to say. Only then there'll be calmness and there'll be resolution to an issue. So, Shrutena Shrotriyaha Bhavati. Even in Vedanta, there are three steps. One is Shravanam, the other is Mananam, and the third is Nidhidhyasanam. Shrutena, by Shravanam, by listening, one person gains the knowledge. Knowledge can be gained by many means. Knowledge can be gained by physically working hard and serving. We can gain knowledge. Knowledge can be gained by devotion, and again, which involves a lot of work, service, and other things. But knowledge by hearing is just by lending our ear completely and listening, we can gain the knowledge of that truth. That is the easiest method, but it is also the most difficult method. The study of the Vedas in the Gurukula system is not there today, but people do go to school and college and they study. Shravanam means a readiness to listen and learn about anything that is good in our life. Even if we want to cook a nice meal, today many youngsters, what they do is they open YouTube and then they look into some video, they listen, even if the menu is given there, it is very nice to see how they do and listen to what is being done and then doing it. Learning is very meaningful only if we have faith in the teacher and the subject. Shraddha, Guru, Vedanta Vakyeshu, Vishwasaha, iti Shraddha. Faith is always mentioned in our scriptures. It's very important to have faith because if we do not have faith, we will ask many unnecessary questions which will delay our process of understanding. If we listen with complete faith to what is mentioned in the scriptures and as it is taught by our Guru, then all the distortions and doubts and disrespect will vanish from our mind and we will be able to grasp the essence of what we need to learn much more faster than asking too many unnecessary questions because of our own doubts and lack of respect and ignorance. So faith removes arrogance and makes the student more humble and obedient. If these qualities are not there, learning can happen very fast. So there are many characters in the Mahabharata which show the importance of faithful learning, like Kacha, who went from the enemy territory of the Devas to Shukracharya to learn the Mrita Sanjeevani Vidya. And Kacha, even though it is very difficult to learn the Mrita Sanjeevani Vidya from the Asuras, they will never want the Devas to know the secret. But even then, Kacha told him the truth that he is Brihaspati's son, and then he offered his respects to Shukracharya, and he was taken in as his student, and with great difficulty, amidst great dangers, he learned the Mrita Sanjeevani Vidya and became very successful. At the same time, we have the story of Karna. Karna was a Kshatriya, but he went to learn this Dhanur Vidya and the study of weapons from Parashurama, and he lied to his teacher saying he was a Brahmana. At one point of time, when his teacher was lying down um, on Karna's lap, that time we've seen it in the movies also, a bee comes and stings Karna and it is profusely bleeding. He is not able to bear the pain, but still he doesn't want to disturb his teacher, so he is bearing the pain. When the teacher got up, he saw the blood and he discovered that this boy cannot be a Brahmana because a Brahmin does not have the capacity to bear so much pain. It is only a Kshatriya who can bear pain. And so he discovered that he is a Kshatriya, and then he said that whatever knowledge I've taught you, it is not going to come to your use when you really need it. And that was a curse that Karna had from his teacher Parashurama. And so what all happens when we learn Shrutasya Vittam Sheelam? We gain good qualities by good study. Shrutena akamo bhavati. The more and more we learn, the deeper and deeper we get into our knowledge, then our desires become lesser and lesser, because the knowledge that we imbibe and we inculcate within us, it wipes away all the lustful tendencies in our mind, craving for objects, people, and situations called vasanas, and it cultivates a quality of discrimination called viveka. Viveka means who am I and who I am not. Distinguishing between the two is viveka. And vairagya is withdrawing from what I am not and focusing on who I am. Shrutena vindate tejaha. By great knowledge, by great learning, a person's face gets filled with Brahma Tejas. Brahma Tejas is the brightness in the face that is got by good learning and good studying. Vidyaya amritam ashrute. One person through vidya, through knowledge, through education, even attains to immortality. So the next question is, Kenasvit vindate mahata, tapasa vindate mahata. Here the question that the Yaksha asks is, how does one achieve to the greatest or highest state in life? And Yudhishthira answers, the way to achieve the highest state in life is by tapas. So the Patanjali Yoga Sutra describes tapas as ashuddhik shayat tapasaha. Tapas or um, tapas or bringing all the sense organs, the body, the mind, and intellect to one pointed focus, and focusing on one thing to the exclusion of everything else is called tapas. And by the process of that tapas, all the impurities of the mind will get washed away. So there are many references to tapas in the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. The Taittiriya Upanishad says, tapasa brahma vijñāsasva. How do I know the Brahman? So the question here is kenasvit vindate mahata. Both the Mahabharata and Ramayana, they talk of dharma and Brahma. So here we are talking about the question that the Yaksha asks is how to attain that supreme, and tapasa Brahma vijñāsasva. Know that supreme truth by austerities. So there are many places where Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, it is not by tapas that you can gain such a great knowledge and such a great understanding. It is not by tapas that you can get to see my real form and all that. But it doesn't mean that tapas is not important. He says that it is not only by tapas, but it is by love, by bhakti, and by serving the master that everything becomes possible. Bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhava magataham. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, many people have attained to my state of being by jnana tapas. Jnana tapas means jnanameva tapaha. Knowledge itself is tapas. Yasya jnanamayam tapaha. Mahat also refers to Brahman, the absolute truth, and the scriptures are all talking about tapas in many, many ways. Sri Adi Shankaracharya in the Bhagavad Gita commentary says that constant contemplation of the supreme reality and restraining the sense organs and the mind and reflecting on the meaning of the Mahavakyas learned from the scriptures and the Guru is tapas. Shrutasya arthasya alochanena jnanamevacha paramatma vishayam tapaha. The supreme knowledge, the supreme truth, the absolute reality, knowledge of the absolute reality itself is tapas. So if we are striving to know the absolute truth, then we don't need to do any hard tapas of standing in Shirasasana for 20 years like Ravana did. We don't need to do all those difficult things. When we know the absolute reality, it is the best tapas we can do. Manasaha cha indriyanam cha api ay ekagriyam nishchitam tapaha. Tapas is manaha, mind and the sense organs. Ekagriyam, keeping the mind and the senses one, meaning mind refers to the buddhi also. The intellect decides where the mind should see, and the mind follows the intellect, and the eyes follow the mind. The mind and the eyes are integrated in what they want to see. The ears and the mind are integrated in what they want to hear. The nose and the mind are integrated in what they want to smell. The tongue and the mind are integrated in what they want to taste or what they want to speak. The hands and the mind are integrated in what they want to do. The skin and the mind are integrated in what they want to feel. So this is called tapas. Tapas in Sanskrit consists of two words, ta and pa. So if you reverse the two words, letters, pa and ta and pa, if you reverse it, it becomes pa and ta. Pata, tapa. If we don't do tapas, tapas means raising our energies to the highest possibilities is tapas. If we don't do, we are sure to fall in life. So Bhagavad Gita talks about three kinds of tapas: sharirika tapas, vachika tapas, and manasika tapas. So what is the sharira tapas? देवद्विजगुरुप्राज्ञा पूजनं शौचमार्जवम् ब्रह्मचर्यम् अहिंसा च शारीरं तप उच्यते. When we are doing tapas or increasing the heat in our body, it is by Deva, Dvija, Guru, Prajna, four people. Devas means the gods. Dvija means the Brahmanas, the ones who are Shrotriya and Brahmanishta, who have learned from the Vedas and the Upanishads and they are abiding in what they learnt, the supreme truth. And then Guru is our teacher who teaches us the supreme truth. And Prajna is a wise person. When we say wise person, we can call our doctors, Ayurvedic physicians. They are all Prajna because any scientist is a Prajna. Anybody who has a specialized knowledge in some subject is a Prajna. Deva, Dvija, Guru, Prajna, Pujanam. Pujanam means respecting them, loving them, worshipping them. Shaucham, practice of cleanliness, keeping the surroundings clean, keeping the mind and body clean is a tapas. It is an austerity that we do because very easily, it is very easy to dirty a place, it is very easy to be shabby, it is very easy to be untidy, it is very easy to be very messy, but it is very difficult. It involves a lot of sweating and hard work to clean up a place, clean up the body, cleaning up the mind requires a lot of hard work, consistent hard work on a daily basis. So that is called shaucham. It is a tapasya. Arjavam, being straightforward in life is a tapasya. So these are all simple ways by which we can do physical tapas in our life. So arjavam meaning being straightforward, not compromising on uh, on our highest principles and values for a very little benefits, for very small benefits. Then brahmacharyam, continence or control of all the senses. All the 10 sense organs are kept under control. It is called brahmacharya. Ahimsa. Ahimsa means not hurting others physically by thought, word, deed, our attitudes and behavior, voluntarily, even involuntarily, not hurting others is ahimsa. Cha shariram tapa uchyate. It is the tapas or the austerity of the body. Then you have vachika tapas, anudvega karam vakyam, satyam priyahitam chayat, swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapa uchyate. Anudvega karam vakyam. Anudvega karam. Talking sentences, speaking without any kind of an agitation, speaking very calmly, speaking very respectfully, speaking very sweetly, speaking very quietly. Anudvega karam vakyam, speaking the truth. Truth means whatever I have is the experience I'm experiencing inside. Speaking that is called satyam, priya hitam. Not only speaking the truth, also speaking it sweetly and speaking words that are for the welfare of other people. Chayat, swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva. Swadhyaya means study about the self. Swadhyaya can also mean study about my own qualities. How much of anger am I getting? What are all the desires that I'm entertaining? Am I experiencing hatred, jealousy, arrogance, lust, and fear? Checking out on all these qualities and working on my own self is Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is also chanting the mantra Om, studying the Vedas, studying the Upanishads, and studying about who I am in reality. The Swa Adhyaya, studying the chapter of my own life, of who I am. Abhyasanam, daily practice. Chaiva, Vangmayam Tapa Uchyate. That is the tapas of the speech. And then the third kind of tapas done with the mind is Manav Prasada Saumyatvam Maunamatma Vinigraham Bhavasam Shuddhirityetat Tapo Manasamuchyate Manaha Prasadaha. The cheerfulness of the mind, keeping the mind in a cheerful state is a very great tapas. It is very easy to be gloomy, it is very easy to sulk, it is very easy to express irritation or be in a very depressed condition. It is very easy. But despite all the conditions that we have, to maintain a cheerful state of mind involves a lot of heat that is generated within, and it is called the austerity of the mind. Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam. Saumya meaning calmness of mind. Maunam atma vidigraha. Maunam means being quiet, quietude of mind, where there are no agitations in the mind, no desires are expressing, or no desires are seeking to express all the time. Saumyatvam, maunam, atma vinigraha, controlling of the self by the self with the help of the mind. Then bhava samshuddhihi iti etat. Bhava samshuddhihi means I am existing in this world. I am made up of three qualities of sattva, rajas, and tamas, which are in a constant state of turmoil and imbalance. And on top of it, there are a lot of impurities of mind gathered by accumulated impressions due to my actions, thoughts, behavior, attitude, feelings entertained, my relationships, the work that I have done or the work that I have not done. All these things create impressions. The experiences that I've had in the world, they create impressions. And as long as these impressions are there, they will be propelling us into some action, some desire, some thought, some feeling, some emotion, all the time. So constantly working on purifying the mind is also tapas. Maunam bhava samshuddhihi etat iti etat tapo manasam uchyate. So the seventh question is, Kenasvit dvitiyavan bhavati, dhritya dvitiyavan bhavati. So there are two meanings to this. Dvitiyavan means I become a double personality, not a multiple personality or a split personality or a dual personality. There is a synergy in me that makes me so powerful that I'm almost like two people. How does that happen? With dhriti. Dhritya, dhvitiyavan bhavati. Dhriti means fortitude, the courage to handle any situation, the courage to keep holding fort despite all troubles, despite all ordeals, despite all vicissitudes in life, despite all the hatred, the animosity, the lack of love, the neglect, and all the conditions that may be thrown at us, even if they come, standing with great courage and fortitude, which is what has been shown by all characters in our Puranas, Itihasas, like the story of Sri Rama, where so much of fortitude he has shown at a very young age in his life. Dhritya Vitiyavan Bhavati. So that is how he had the strength to vanquish Ravana and so many other asuras and rakshasas whom even the great sages, great kings could not vanquish. Rama had so much of power and so much of strength. So there are many verses, even in the Tirukkural, it is never say any task is impossible. When there is great strength, everything becomes possible and we can accomplish it, says the Tirukkural. And in the Bhagavad Gita too, in chapter 2, Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, Klaibyam asmagama partha naitatvayupapadyate kshudram hrudaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. Klaibyam ma. Don't be like a eunuch without any strength, neither the masculine power nor the feminine power. Arjuna, he is actually reminding Arjuna of the time he spent as a eunuch in the court of the king during the 1 year period of Ajnatavasa, where he was taking care of that queen as her hairdresser and beautician called Brihannala. And so Klaibyamma Smagama Partha, Arjuna, this kind of a quality, klipata or weakness, does not become of you. Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam. Drop all this weakness of heart. Tyaktva uttishta parantapa. Get up, stand up, Arjuna, is the command that Krishna gave in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita in the Mahabharata's Bhishma Parva. Then Dhritihi deha indriyeshu avasadam prapteshu tasya pratishedakaha antakarana vritti visheshaha yena uttambitani karanani dehaschana avasidanti. In the Bhagavad Gita Shankara Bhashya, chapter 16, Bhagavan Sri Adi Shankaracharya gives a description of Dhriti. What does Dhriti mean? Deha indriyeshu avasadam prapteshu. The body can be tired, the senses can be tired. Avasadam. So there is a full stop to the functioning of the body and the sense organs. Prapteshu tasya pratishedakaha. Stopping that, antakarana vritti visheshaha. Developing the firmness of mind. Yena uttambitani karanani. Develop the firmness mind over matter. You put mind over matter, keep the mind strong, make the body sit up, make the senses alert. Dehascha na avasidanti. The body does not get very tired and depressed because in the mind there is dhriti. Dhritya yaya dharayate manah pranendriya kriya yogena vyabhicharinya dhritissa partha satviki. There are three types of dhriti again. Satvika dhriti, rajasika dhriti, and tamasika dhriti. Satvika dhriti is dhritya dharayate. With fortitude, raise the mind, the pranas, the indriyas, and all the sense organs and all our actions. The actions of the pranas, the mind, and the sense organs are lifted up with the help of dhriti. Yogena avyabhicharinya. Avyabhicharinya yoga means focused yoga, not investing my identification into this and that, but concentrating and focusing on one thing at a time and seeing it to its completion is called sattvic dhriti, or the fortitude of a very sattvic or a intelligent, quiet, humble and calm person. Yaya tu dharma kamarthana dhritya dharayate arjuna prasangena phalakankshi dhritissa partha rajasi. There is a rajasa dhriti. So that kind of fortitude, even that is fortitude, but dharma kama arthana. So that fortitude, you raise up the sense organs, the body and the energies to achieve some goal in our life, whether it can be our duties or desired actions that we want to do. Kama is our desires, and then artha is going after wealth. We're all seeing so many people working so hard in offices, day duty, night duty, staying for long hours and working. For what reason? They want to achieve something through that work. Prasangena phalakankshi. So they are attached to the results of the action. Such a dhriti is a rajasika dhriti. And then the tamasika dhriti, yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madamevacha navimunchati durmedha dhritissa partha tamasi, by which means they don't leave their dreaming, daydreaming, building mental castles, and then bhayam, they don't leave their fear, they don't leave their grief. You don't need to hold on to all this. They don't leave their vishadam, doubt, grief. They don't leave their arrogance at all. They want to hold on to all these things because it gives them a lot of security in life. Na vimunchati durmedha. They are all people of lesser intellect. Such people, their dhriti or their fortitude is called tamasika dhriti. Sri Nilakantha, who has written the commentary on the whole of Mahabharata, refers to Dvitiyavan, Dritya Dvitiyavan Bhavati. By Driti, one becomes two people, is what the meaning. But here the meaning Dvitiyavan is Brahman, the ultimate. We have a smaller personality, we have an absolute personality. So, with the help of Dhriti, we can become our absolute true self, that is becoming the Brahman itself, the Jiva recognizing itself as the Brahman. The last question for today, Kenacha Buddhiman. Buddhiman Vriddha Sevaya. So Yaksha asked the question, how does a man become wise? The man becomes wise by serving older people. Vriddha means senior people, people who have achieved greatness in their life, who are much, much older than us in many ways. There are many, many kinds of senior people. They are Vayo Vriddha. It is not only because of age. Age is Vayo Vriddha. People who are senior to us because of their age. Then people who are senior to us, they may be lesser than us in age, but they may know more than us. Jnana Vriddha. And then people who have very great qualities, Guna Vriddha, integrity, focus, concentration, and love, harmony, Guna Vriddha. Irrespective of their age, when we respect and love such people, then we will also imbibe those qualities that they have. So the Mahabharata also refers to the five gurus. Who are they? Panchaiva Guravo Brahman Purushasya Bubhushataha Pita Matagniratma Cha Guruscha Dvija Sattama. There are five people who need to be revered. Out of the five, one is not a person, it is fire. Pita, Mata, the father, the mother. The third is Agni. We revere our father, we revere our mother. If we don't, we have to revere in this lifetime, take care of them and their needs, and be kind to them, speaking with kind words, words of love and respect, and attending to their dharmic requirements in life. And then when they pass on, taking care of their spiritual needs by doing whatever pitru karmas that need to be done, is taking care of our father. Taking care of our mother, same. Mata and Pita become pitrus. Agnihi, taking care of fire, tending the fire at home. In these days, we may not have light the fire of Havan every day like they used to do in those days, Agnihotris, but we still tend to some fire. We tend to our cooking fire in the kitchen. We tend to the fire in the lamp that is being lit. And so these are all the fires that we need to worship in our homes. Guru Hucha, worship our teacher. The teacher is worthy of our worship. The teacher of all subjects in the world, as well as the teacher of the knowledge of the self, Sadguru. Dvija Sattama. The Brahmanas, the best among the Brahmanas, are people who have to be worshipped. Atma is also, Atma means my own self, the one that keeps saying I. Yes, you, that I, and myself, that I, Atma, is worthy of worship. So every day we have to worship the self also. So how do we worship the self? There is a very beautiful puja called the Atma Puja, in which we invoke our own self, we pray to our own self. In all the pujas that we do, there will be a verse chanted for Atma Puja. Deho devalayah prokto jivo devas sanatanaha त्यजेद अज्ञान निर्माल्यम सोहम भावेन पूजयेत देहो देवालयः. This whole body is a temple. Jivo devaha sanatanaha. The life that exists in this body, that appears as this body and mind, is the God, the very ancient God. Tyajed ajnana nirmalyam. drop all the ignorance about who I am. Saha aham bhavena pujayet. Worship your own self. The Atma is that which is He is me. Saha aham. And the धात्रा तु विहितं पूर्वं कर्म स्वं पालयाम्यहं प्रयत्ना च कुरु वृद्धौ शुश्रूषेहं द्विजोत्तम. In the Vyada Gita, there is a Brahmana called Kaushika who meets Dharma Vyada. Dharma Vyada is a butcher, and a lady who was not afraid of this Kaushika. And this Kaushika was very amazed because he's the one who just looked at the crane that shat on his head and he burnt the crane. And so when he went to this lady's house seeking bhiksha, he was very happy with his anger and he was very happy with this power of tapasya. But when he sought bhiksha from this lady, Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi, this lady says, wait, I will attend to my husband and then I will come and meet you. And he was waiting for a long time. She was attending to her husband, serving him food. And then finally, when she came with the food for this Brahmana, he said, you keep the food with yourself. And he got very angry with her. So this lady said, you thought I was a crane or what? I am doing my duty, and so your curse is you cannot burn me like how you burnt the crane. Then this Brahmana wondered, this lady must have a lot of tapas. She's able to find out what I did. And then what is the secret of your tapas? She said, I am nothing at all. I just serve my husband. You meet my guru, this Dharma Vyada, he is living in that village. You go and ask anybody in the village who's Dharma Vyada, they'll tell you. And so he goes and asks, who is Dharma Vyada? And people say, go in this direction, go in this direction. The long queue is waiting there. At the end of it is a butcher shop. This Dharma Vyada is a butcher. And so everybody is waiting there. What? This butcher is Dharma Vyada? He is going to teach me something or what? He was he had an insulting attitude towards him as he waited for all the people to finish buying their meat. And then finally, when he met Dharma Vyada said, oh, that lady has sent you here. And he wondered, how amazing is it that I did not even introduce myself and he knows that she has sent me here. He said, yes, please teach me, I've come to learn from you. Then he says, the way by which I gain knowledge is by serving my parents. Dhatratu vihitam purvam karmasvam palayamyaham. I take care of my karma, my own work, my responsibility, my duty, with all my efforts. Prayatnacha guru vruddhau shushrushekam vijottama. I serve the guru and my senior parents. The same way was also Pundalik. Pundalik was that person who was serving his parents, and Vittal Bhagavan is coming and seeing him. So happy to see him serve his parents. With so much of care and love he's serving. Even when Vittal Bhagavan came there, he just put a brick and made him stand on that, finish his service to his parents, and then went and made his obeisance to Bhagavan himself. So instead of respecting and serving parents and the elderly ones, if one insults them, then the curses that befell Duryodhana, who disrespected elders, he insulted Bhishma, his grandfather, Vidura, his uncle, Drona, his teacher, and even Markandeya Maharishi, and many others. Even Bhagavan Sri Krishna also he insulted. And that was the reason for his downfall. In our life, if we want to succeed in life, if we want to grow better and do well for ourselves, it is not by our own efforts. We need the love and support from all our people around, all our seniors, all our in one house. during the Bhagavad Gita competitions here in Puducherry, one girl got the first prize in her school. And I went to that person's house for Bhiksha. I didn't know it was that girl's house. I didn't know that I had given the first prize to that student because she chanted very well. And then I met that girl's grandmother. That grandmother is telling, this morning she went for the Bhagavad Gita competition. She said, Party, pray for me that I should get first prize. No? She has studied well and she has chanted well, but still, it is a prayer of that grandmother, the blessing of the mother, the blessing of the father. Everything goes in to give that kind of steadiness and stability to our personality that makes us achieve great things. So it is not only with our own effort and our own willpower that we can do things. It is with the love and respect and affection of all people around us. So we serve them. By serving them, what happens? We become very wise. So when we serve our elders, when we serve somebody, naturally they are very well disposed towards us. They give us good guidance in our life. If we are disrespectful to them, we don't take care of them, we neglect them, then even if we are in a difficulty, even if they want to help us, they are not in a physical and mental condition or an emotional state to help us. So we need the love and blessings of all our elders, teachers, masters, gurus, and the senior people in our country. The Desha is also our guru. Anything that is greater than us is our guru. So we have to look at them with love, respect, and worship them. We will meet again tomorrow. Om Sarvesham Swastirбhavatu Sarvesham Shantirbhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Bole Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai Har Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadeva Hari Om.